We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. A playground for some. For others, it's where they make their living. But the sea's unpredictable.
The sea can be so powerful and dangerous.
The weather changes, and before you know it, you're in trouble.
Grab hold of him, do not let him go!
All right, grab!
I was literally fighting for my life.
Because he can't, buddy!
Without them, I would have drowned.
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of over 5,000 ordinary people.
Big wave!
You have to be able to drop everything when the pager goes off.
Get it out! Go, go, go!
Equipped with their own cameras,
Are you okay?
the crews give us a unique insight into every call-out as only they see it.
Person in the water!
For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
To save somebody's life, it's the best thing in the world, really.
Yeah, go, 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 go!
In the northeast of England, lying on the Northumberland coast, is the small town of New Biggin by the sea.
So New Biggin used to be a fishing village. It's been a fishing village for a long time, but obviously with the decline of fishing, it's become more of a holiday touristy location.
It's quite a small bay. We've got two breakwaters there. St. Bartholomew's, which is perched on the cliffs at Church Point. And then we've got the couple, which is a statue of a man and a woman facing out at sea. The couple have been there about 14 years now. New Biggin Bay can give you a bit of a false sense of security. The bay itself feels quite small and quite safe, but with an offshore wind, that'll carry beyond the breakwaters, and as soon as you get beyond the breakwaters, then you're in open sea.
Monday evening, early June.
We had been having a meeting at the lifeboat station, and as we're getting ready to leave, we noticed that there was an opened kayak with fishing rods. There was two people there. There was an offshore wind blowing. Got back home, got the binoculars on them, sat in the window. Whilst they were fishing and seemed to be happy, and they weren't indicating any distress whatsoever. But I just thought, I just got a feeling about these two.
Richard continues watching until they disappear from view. Then, just as night begins to fall, the kayakers have called the Coast Guard to say they're sinking, but their call is cut off before they can give their location. Thanks to Richard spotting them earlier, however, the crew have a good idea of where they might be.
We dropped the search area down to a quarter of what it could have been, so it meant that the time available could be better used.
Because it's a person in the water, there's a massive sense of urgency because you don't know how long to be in the water. So as soon as I got my kid on, went on the boat.
The light was starting to fade. The visibility was decreasing with that. Just stepped up the urgency of getting out there and trying to find them with what light we had left.
Just 11 minutes after the pagers sounded, the New Biggin crew launch and head out into the darkening bay, towards the area Richard last saw the kayak.
It's probably one of the most difficult times to be looking for anybody at twilight because you haven't got night vision.
You've got a little bit of sea condition there, so you can easily miss them as well with a passing wave. Looking for a person in the water, which predominantly is no bigger than a football.
Despite the fading light and heavy swells, within just a few minutes of launching, the crew spot something.
We both saw something floating out the water, which looked to be like a head and an arm.
We proceeded over to the area.
It then appeared to be a fishing pot. So there was a bit of disappointment.
It does leave you feeling a little bit empty. Lots of things going through my head at the time. Obviously, my next step, whether I'm going to break into a search pattern.
The June sea temperatures here average 12 degrees. With cold water robbing a body of heat around 25 times faster than air, hypothermia is a very real danger, so the crew need to find the casualties fast.
We knocked the engines off and just listened, using our ears to see if we could find them.
And in that moment, you faintly hear a sound, a voice, you know, it's very, very faintly.
As soon as you hear the casualty shouting, the first thing you get is a sense of relief. Job's not necessarily done, but you're in the right area.
At this point, it's racking mentally what is the state of these casualties. I know, and we all know, they're not safe until they're on that boat.
The crew head in the direction of the voice. But even with everyone desperately scanning the water, there's still no sign of the casualties.
It seemed like forever. It seemed like we might have gone too far.
Then, just as they're about to cut the engines again, the crew see something in the water between themselves and land.
So from here in the initial shout, probably took around another 15 seconds before we were on scene. He was obviously cold, tired, shivering.
Straight away, the next question is, where is his friend?
As the crew listen out, they hear another shout coming from somewhere nearby.
So the second casualty was in a lot worse condition than the first.
He was drowsy, he didn't know where he was. He was very much on his last legs.
I was trying to breathe, and I was that weak. I think if I didn't have my life jacket on, I wouldn't be here today. I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I was going to die.
Sean and Anthony had set off in their kayak earlier to spend the evening sea fishing.
I've known Anthony since I was 6-year-old. Known him since first school, really. His dad used to have a boat, so we used to go out on his dad's boat all the time. So being at sea is like, it's the best thing for me, really. I love it. I love it.
When they were older, they bought their own kayak for sea fishing trips, just like the one they planned that June evening.
Absolutely perfect kayak weather. You will not get a better sea than that.
I finished work, I got ready, went and got Sean. I put my phone into the glove box of the car, but then I started walking down to meet Sean on the shoreline, and something clicked in my head. Go get your phone.
Just before 8 p.m, Sean and Anthony headed out to sea.
The fishing was really good, and we were laughing, we were enjoying it, and it was a good night.
And then it just, all of a sudden, it just seemed like the wind got up from the coast.
The offshore wind also created waves that helped push Sean and Anthony almost a mile out to sea.
As we're trying to head back in, we're having to head into the swell, like, head on into it.
And all of a sudden, there was a lot of water started splashing against the kayak, bailing and bailing and bailing, and I just couldn't keep up with the water that was coming in. And I said, Sean, I think it's a 999 situation, this. Luckily, I got the phone call in, rang 999.
And then, next thing you know, That's when, like, a rogue wave come from the side and it flung out.
The kayak just flipped and my phone left my hands.
The shock of how cold that was, horrible, horrible. That's when it hit us. Do they actually know where we are? Is someone coming to save us? Do they know I'm here?
Having now become separated from their kayak, and with only life jackets keeping them afloat, Sean and Anthony tried to swim almost a mile back to shore.
I was swimming and swimming and swimming, and you could see the lights in the bay at the pubs coming on, and the houses and the street lights coming on, and then just felt like we were getting nowhere, and time was fading, and thinking, it was terrifying by then.
After 15 minutes of swimming, they found themselves further from shore than when they'd started, and close to exhaustion.
I couldn't feel my legs, to be honest. I felt like my body was closing down. I was looking at the church at Church Point, and I was thinking, well, I'm gonna die. I wonder if that's where my funeral's gonna be. And I lay on my back and I had tears running down my cheeks, crying, just like thinking of my family and my kids. Just terrified, just thinking of what, like my daughter's not gonna have her dad there. I says, I'm done. I can't swim anymore. I give up. I can't do anything. And he was like, "And you're not. Howie, keep strong. You swim."
It sounds daft, but nearly 11 o'clock at night, you're a mile out at sea, and I still thought, I'm not going today. That was when I thought I heard the sound of an engine. I looked to my left. I can't describe the moment of seeing that boat, that lifeboat, come round past the brake motor. I shouted, "Anthony," I said, "the lifeboat's here." I was screaming, and I had my hands up, "Help, help." And then I heard the engine switch off on the boat, and I knew they're switching that engine off to listen for us, listen for cries for help. So I screamed at them, I shouted, "Come south." At that moment is the one moment I think saved me and Anthony.
You can't explain the relief, how good it feels to see that lifeboat coming for you. It's unbelievable. You can't explain it. The last thing I remember is a man leaning over, and I just remember his face. He had like a tash, and he pulled us up, and then I can't remember anything of coming in from then.
He was in a lot worse condition than the first casualty. He was a lot colder, a lot more tired. He wanted to go to sleep. And I told him, I said, "You're not going to sleep, stay with us." Probably took less than a minute to get back. It always just seems like the longest journey of your life.
It was terrifying, but it's just like to know that I'm here. It's amazing, and it's all thanks to the lads in the boat that night.
Sean and Anthony were both kept in hospital overnight to recover from hypothermia and their brush with disaster.
A week after, I went down to see the lifeboat crew. When I first went in, I was looking for the one that pulled us out of the water, and I just remember going in and just seeing a man sitting there with a tash. And I said to him, I went, "Come here, give me a squeeze." Can't thank him enough, like, honestly, it's my hero. The whole three of them in that boat were my heroes. Unbelievable.
There's a massive sense of relief. It feels surreal. You know, two people are going back to the family at the end of the day.
Although only 2 people needed rescuing here from the open sea, the volunteer crews of the RNLI increasingly have to deal with far more casualties in the water. and far more regularly.
A major rescue operation was launched this morning in response to a report that a migrant boat was sinking.
Mid-August, 4:50 a.m. 8 miles off the south coast of England.
We've lighted this up. Get it tucked behind the salvage boat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
The Dover lifeboat is returning home with 68 casualties on board, rescued from a small boat stranded in the shipping lanes.
Let's get them off the raft, then.
They were cold and wet, as you'd expect, being out on the water for probably 6 to 7 hours.
People are scared. People also are very tired. They might be dehydrated. Some of them are just a little bit shell-shocked.
We used to respond to 30 or 40 people on a boat, but now actually what we're responding to is not shy of 60 to 80 people at any one time on poorer quality build boats, boats that are flimsy, boats that have got wooden bottoms, that have been absorbing water, overloaded. So by the time we've got to them in the middle of the channel, these people are desperate.
You're okay here, they're all sat down, we're under control. I can't see anyone else in the water.
We don't tow these boats because these boats are not made to be towed. They're not really seaworthy boats.
As these boats cannot be towed, everyone has been transferred to the lifeboat to remove them from danger.
The rescue itself went as smooth as it could, and that was accomplished really well, and we were just thinking about going back to Dover. And that's when things changed.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
A mayday has come in about another small boat in trouble close to the shipping lanes. The Dover crew have been tasked by the Coast Guard to turn back and help.
It was for a small crossing boat that had capsized and gone down, and there was people in the water. We didn't know how many was in the water at the time.
Hey, great spot. Down side, get that boat, don't worry about it.
When I heard that, I will be honest, my heart sank, because this would be the first job that I'd ever been to where there were mass casualties in the water.
Although the Dover lifeboat already has dozens of casualties on board, this new emergency could mean rescuing many more.
We were rigging scramble nets. We were getting life rafts ready.
Move on.
We've got things, we call them now horseshoes, and it's basically a mini life jacket that just inflates up and looks like a horseshoe, but it's in a little bag like a rugby ball. The crew can throw it quite accurately at them.
Don't open these, don't just throw them.
I was helping the original boat of people down into the survivor cabin. So when I first arrived back on deck, we were already at the incident, and that was when I realised I was looking at something that I'd never seen before, and I wasn't quite ready to know what I was looking at.
Stay clear, front of the bow. Get a line on that one, look. Get in. Hand it quick you can, guys. Come on. Get a ring to board and take on board. South, wait.
The boat had burst and there were people clinging onto whatever they could cling onto.
I mean, I've got the water on their own. Let's go.
I'd never seen that many people in the water. I could just hear screaming, people screaming at the tops of their voices.
Come round.
Nothing will ever prepare you for hearing people scream for their life. It's the worst experience.
And there was people that sadly were face down in the water that weren't shouting at us. They were just floating away.
It looked like something from a war film. It didn't feel real. So I was, temporarily, I was a little bit stunned. So that's when the training kicks in and you have a job to do. There's a lot of people that need rescuing. Let's get to it.
Lee!
With so many casualties in the water, it's down to Coxswain Lee, up on the bridge and in overall charge of the boat, to come up with a rescue plan.
So at that stage, no, we weren't taking anyone. We'd stayed off and we are trying to give as much life-saving support as we can to as many as we can. Throw them the horseshoes, the rings, give them as much inflatable aids to help themselves.
With the main group of 15 casualties now surrounded by horseshoes and clinging to the upturned boat, the crew head off to help a man who has been swept away on the tide without a flotation device.
It was critical that we got support to them quickly, you know.
Hey! Hey! You okay? You okay?
He was screaming for help. He was so exhausted. He didn't have much energy left.
Just underneath the boat here, at the side.
Oh, Martin! On the net!
Oh. Let me help you.
He didn't have much more to give, and I remember using all of the strength I had, and I consider myself a bit of a rugby prop.
And again. Well done. And again.
Go.
It took all of my strength to bring him aboard that boat.
Right, we got one in.
Hey, talk to me. Are you okay? Up.
In your mind, you're thinking, I don't know how much of this I can do.
Go that way, please, sir.
But you just keep functioning. You know, you just keep doing.
With one casualty safely on board, the lifeboat heads back to the main group, still clinging to the capsized boat.
What happened next actually shocked me.
Wait!
A whole group of them started swimming to the side of our boat. I'm scuppered. I had to sit there, stop my engines as such, and no power, and wait. Then relying on my crew literally pulling them over the side deck.
Having struggled to haul just one exhausted casualty up the side of the lifeboat, the crew now have to rescue 15 more.
We were all helping each other as best we could.
Hand to give us a hand!
With so many exhausted casualties in the water,
That's so weak.
one of the crew has climbed down the netting to help them on board.
Come with me this side. Come with me.
I've never seen fear in people's faces like I saw that day.
Okay.
They'd have been in the water for 20 minutes, half hour. Your limbs and that get cold. You don't have the movement and mobility.
Guys, quick, get a hand on it.
We've got people who have got no strength. You are there, and it is a life and death situation, and you can make that difference.
2, 3, 4.
We were dragging them over the handrails, just crashing them onto the deck.
Come on.
I was leaning over the side, and I was looking at a man who was sinking in front of me.
Quick, get a hand on him. Fight.
He had no strength. He was, slipping, literally slipping away. Oh, I won't forget his eyes. They were just imploring me to not let go. And I just thought to myself then, I thought, I'm not letting go, I'm not letting go. And I think I'd said to him, I'm not letting you go, I'm not letting you go.
Come on, my friend.
We managed to pull him out, and you have that instantaneous, oh phew, they're out the water. But it doesn't stop there.
Wait.
Other vessels start arriving in response to the mayday to help rescue the last desperate casualties.
Lee, face down! Lee! Face down! Face down!
There was one guy at the front of the boat. I could see he had starfished in the water, and he was really grey and blue. I knew he was in a really bad way, and he had no one with him.
Hey, 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 hey! Lee, can I enter the water? Can I enter the water?
You think of the risk of them not seeing a loved one again, and all you want to do is get in the water and help them.
Can I enter the water?
He had asked me several times, can I go in? And I'd said yes at first. The reason I changed my mind is if he'd gone in the water, my focus would have gone from helping those already in the water to him. And that would have compromised the rest of the people. From training we've done, the reality of that situation is I'm probably not going to help everyone. So it's what can I do the best for the most people possible in such a short space of time.
He's got him.
And in that split second before I can get off the boat, a French swimmer from one of the rescue boats gets him on board their boat.
The French rescue boat pulls the drowning man on board,
Come on, guys! Right.
leaving Michael free to help the remaining casualties clinging to the lifeboat.
Yeah, we'll get your friend. Come on, hand.
So once we onboarded and we had everybody that we could on deck, we're then moving through the casualties to see who needs medical attention.
Head count. How many?
21, 22, 23, 4, 5, 26, 27, 28, 29.
2.5 hours after launching, and with 87 casualties now on board, the crew begin the journey back to Dover.
You all right? Have a rest. Sit down. Sit down.
I didn't know at this point if all these people were going to actually stay alive, because we were still way out in the channel. We were miles out. And there were so many people on the boat.
Yeah.
So we had one guy on the floor who was passing out. We had the guy that had hypothermia and another third guy that, again, was passing out next to him.
Come on. Okay.
We had probably 4 quite seriously sick people that might not make it back.
It takes the crew almost half an hour to pick their way through the shipping lanes and make it back to Dover.
We're here. We're here.
Border Force, ambulances, and Coast Guard were waiting for us.
Do you want any from the bow yet?
When the casualties were leaving, a lot of them were just getting hold of you. Thank you, thank you. A lot of them couldn't walk properly. Most of them were helped off the boat that day.
I've been around a lot of years in the institution, and that's probably the worst I've seen for having to deal with so much in one go.
Come on!
The Dover crew pulled 19 people out of the English Channel that day. Every one of them survived.
It was one of my worst days I've ever had on the boat, but also there's 19 people alive today because our boat went there that day.
It's incredible. I mean, that's all we could hope for. And, you know, may they go on and live fruitful, happy lives.
He's in. It's in. Right. Put it on the stand. Check him.
I am proud of what I did, so I don't know why it upsets me so much thinking about it. But yeah, I am proud.
People have criticised the RNLI for involved in the channel crossing work, but me personally, it's a life. It's a mum, it's a dad, it's a brother, a sister, a child.
Although the 19 casualties pulled from the water by the Dover crew survived, 6 others, rescued by other vessels, did not.
All I know is these are people that are in boats that sink, and I'm there to help them.
The volunteers of the RNLI are dedicated to saving lives at sea. But having to deal with the loss of life is occasionally unavoidable.
Sometimes rescues aren't as successful, and you're not finding a semi-conscious person, you're pulling a body out of the water.
One of the shouts that I was on where it wasn't a good outcome, you know, we paused, we put the boat into neutral and just sat and had a chat about what we'd been through.
When shouts don't go to plan or don't work out, you go back to the station and everybody feels for everybody else. You know, we all grip together and just make sure that we're all okay. You know, we message each other and just say, "You okay?"
We will talk as a crew and support each other, knowing that some family somewhere has lost part of their group.
With the training that we get with the station and the RNLI, you know, we're fully supported mentally and physically. You know, each shout can affect different people in different ways. So having support mechanism, whether that be just having a cup of coffee and decompressing at the station, or having an impartial point to go to once you're away from the station, that helps as well.
I'd be lying if I'd said I don't remember the bad shouts, because they are always with us. But it's reassuring to know that the good shouts heavily outweigh the bad ones.
On the east coast of Ireland, facing out into the Irish Sea, is the old fishing port of Skerries.
Skerries means rocks. It's some Viking term for rocks. That's sort of evident once you come along the headland here. There's quite a lot of rocks that you need to be wary of.
We've got a fairly rugged coastline. There's 2 beautiful beaches that you can use as well.
Skerries on a good day in the summer here is absolutely packed, crazy busy. The beaches can be full. There's a really popular ice cream shop just beside the lifeboat station, which can have a huge queue outside as well.
First established over 100 years ago, the current Skerries lifeboat station is based on the harbour in the north of the town. Just a stone's throw from its youngest crew member, Leo.
I'm living at home with my granddad at the minute, and we're very fortunate to live right across the road from the sea, actually overlooking Shannock Island.
Did Justin do any crab fishing?
Leo moved in with his grandfather, Hugh, just over a year ago, after his grandmother, Margaret, passed away suddenly.
Margaret would sit here and I'd sit there, and we'd talk about the world and our grandchildren, and that was her favourite view in the world.
The view, immortalised in paint by Hugh, also gives him a ringside seat whenever his grandson heads out on a shout.
I've trained myself not to worry, because Leo was trained in the boat and the others in the boat are all very capable. So I don't worry about you because I think you know what you're doing.
I'd definitely say he's a big supporter. And, you know, the odd time, if we have an early call out, I might come in the morning and he'll always know, he'll always ask, and, you know, is everything okay? We get on very close.
Sunday afternoon, end of May. Although the weather is warming up, the temperature of the Irish Sea is still in single figures.
I was on the beach with my sisters the day of the shout and my bleep went off.
A distressed phone call has come in from kayakers in trouble, somewhere between the islands. But the signal was so weak, the Coast Guard isn't sure if it's 2 people in trouble or 12. And they've since lost all contact.
Anytime you hear people in the water, you want to get the boat in the water as fast as possible, you know.
Once you're in the water, you're going to start getting cold very quickly.
10 minutes after the call came in, the Skerries lifeboat launches and heads to what they believe to be the kayakers' location.
The initial reports we got back were that they were in between the islands. Now we have 3 islands.
We were really just focusing on getting out there and, you know, and getting the search and rescue in operation as quickly as possible.
As there could be as many as 12 people in the water, the lifeboat at Flank Station Howth is also tasked to help with the search.
The Coast Guard had the helicopter out at this stage, and we were made aware that Howth has also been called in, so they were on their way over and they've got the bigger boats, so.
When we left the bay, the sea was rougher than it is closer to the shore, which is often the way.
It was quite tricky to see anything because there was a bit of chop in the water.
4 minutes after launch, the Skerries crew are first to arrive at the area between the islands where they think the casualties called from.
We were looking around there and couldn't see anything. The tricky thing is there was lots of lobster pots around as well, so you're constantly thinking lobster pots is maybe somebody in the water.
It's like looking for a coconut in a bobbing sea, whatever, 100, 200, 300 meters away. It's difficult.
Well, you're just thinking, God, has something more serious happened here? The longer time goes on, the more worried you become.
With no sign of any of up to 12 kayakers in the water, the crew start heading further out. They follow the current towards open sea where their helicopter has arrived to help with the widening search.
Once you hit the back of Shennick Island, the sea opens up quite a lot. It's the Irish Sea, you know, so and there's a lot of sea to look out to, you know.
What's that in the water there? Is that a boy again?
You're worried more than anything else, you know. You know it's time critical, and I think these guys have been in the water for 20, 30 minutes maybe at this stage, and you start worrying. Are we going to find these? Have they gone under?
With the currents flowing in different directions around the islands, judging where the casualties have drifted is difficult. But as time ticks on and the outlook appears more bleak, the Coast Guard contacts them with an updated location.
It transpired with this shout that the guys in trouble had phoned in a dry bag and they were very distressed, but they were able to get the GPS coordinates from that call.
5334. So 34.
Once they came through, proceeded to that area.
So just kind of shortly after we got the coordinates, Joe thought he spotted something in the water. We weren't sure if it was a lobster pot kind of with a flag on it. But then Joe said he spotted the paddle.
You could just see the tip of the kayak still above the water. The closer we got, we could see that there were 2 people in the water with a submerged kayak beside them.
The lifeboat heads over, mindful that although they found 2 casualties, there may be as many as 10 more still missing.
The casualties seemed pretty shaken when we arrived.
Hey.
I mean, you just want to get them on the boat as quickly as possible.
Okay, one at a time. You hold on there. Wait there, okay? You wait there. You're okay. You're okay.
You have to kind of work as a team to pull them in.
Yeah, it is difficult getting casualties on board, particularly if they've been in the water a long time. They're full of water, so they're heavier also.
We have you. You okay? You okay? You sure? Lie down there, lie down.
We were very relieved to have found them. Now, at the same time, we still were going off reports of 12 people, and here we're 2.
Okay. Is there anyone else with you? Just the 2 of you, yeah? Is everyone with you? Okay.
The casualties assured us it's just the 2 of us. You're not looking for 12 people.
Yeah, that was a relief for us. It was just the 2 of them and nobody else was in the water.
Oh, you do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
When the guys got on the boat, they were absolutely physically and mentally exhausted. They were so upset and just so relieved to be in the boat.
You okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Sit up here, okay? We'll lie you up here, okay? No, you will lie up this way, okay?
Although the casualties are now out of the water, the rescue is still far from over.
Our 2 main concerns right now are going to be cold and drowning, secondary drowning.
Did you swallow any water?
Secondary drowning can be any time after you've held any amount of water. It stays in the lungs and you can drown. You can drown many hours after having been in the water.
How long were you in the water? 30 minutes?
You're still just conscious that they're really cold. Hypothermia can be so dangerous. We just need to, at that stage, get them back in and into heat as quickly as we can.
How are you feeling? You okay? Okay.
Both casualties were alert, chatting and talking all the way back to base. I mean, I remember mentioning to them, "Don't worry, we'll pick up your kayak." And he turned around and said, he doesn't want to see a kayak ever again. His kayaking days, I said, are over.
The crew take the 2 casualties back to the lifeboat station, where they are met by the emergency services.
We had ambulance, fire brigade. I think it was 2 ambulances actually. It was quite clear that everything had been thrown at this call out, just on the initial report of 12 people.
Don't I ask you to come down this way? 3 have come.
One of the casualties immediately saw this and went, "Oh my God, is this all for me?"
You all right? 3 points of contact.
The 2 casualties, who had been in the water for almost an hour, are warmed up by the paramedics and treated for mild hypothermia before being released an hour later.
They were in such a distressed state when we got there. They'd been in the water such a long time. They were both saying that they weren't sure how long they would have been able to hold on for.
They said a rogue wave might have hit them and capsized them. So I think it was just a freak accident, really, that they went over. I think they could have drowned fairly easily. I mean, if we hadn't have located them in that time, they could have drifted out. Yeah, they were 2 lucky guys.
I'm sure my granddad probably did have the binoculars out. Was probably watching this one, but I'll have to check with him. I'm not quite sure.
"80 miles east across the Irish Sea, perched on the Anglesey coast, is the Welsh seaside town of Moylvra.
Moylvra is your kind of idyllic, picturesque, small seaside village. It's got everything you could ask for. It's got lovely cafes and small village shops and pubs.
It gets extremely busy here in the summer. People coming over, staying on the campsites and the caravans.
So we get a lot of people come down here just to go out playing on their paddleboards, kayaks and stuff.
Small rocky secluded coves, nice sandy beaches, and it looks fantastic on social media pictures.
There's been a lifeboat here for over 170 years. And Vince's family has been part of the crew for almost half of them.
I'm 3rd generation lifeboat crew in my family. My grandfather was on the crew in the 50s and 60s. My dad then joined the crew kind of 80s, 90s. Couldn't wait to join on my 70th birthday, kind of following my family's footsteps. So I've been involved now for 25 years, and I've been full-time for 23 of those. There's a real strong sense of community in the village. The lifeboat's been a part of it for hundreds of years. We rely on the community to crew our lifeboats, and they rely on us to provide safety on the sea.
A sunny Friday in mid-August. Midday.
I was already at the station doing some planned maintenance, and it was just coming up to lunchtime, getting awful peckish, and the page went off.
So the initial information that we received that there was a child that had been blown out to sea on a rubber dinghy.
The worst rescues are the ones involving kids. As a parent, I think it kind of ups the ante a little bit. Worst case scenario with a dinghy is that the child jumps into the sea and tries to swim for the beach.
You need to get this boat in the water very fast because minutes do save lives.
5 minutes after the call came in, the crew launched their inshore lifeboat and head to location, 2 miles from the station.
So the last reported position of the casualty was about 200-300 metres off Figway Beach, which is a large sandy beach round to the west of our station.
You got a vessel on the bow coming towards us. More information comes through as the situation develops, and we get the information that the child is actually in the water. Your heart just sinks because you don't know how old they are, you don't know what experience they've got, how strong they are.
My biggest fear when you hear that there's a child in the water is potential of drowning, a mother losing her child and a child losing their life.
Heading towards the location, you could really feel the strength of the wind that was blowing offshore.
Keenly aware that the strong wind and tides are pushing the casualty further out to sea with every passing minute, the crew cover the 2 miles as quickly as they can.
With the offshore winds, you get told one position initially, and things do change. So the time it takes us to get to the shout, that casualty might not be in the same position.
6 minutes after launching, they arrive at Cligwey Bay.
As we're heading round towards the area, you're scanning, you're looking to see if you can see anything obvious. Glancing over to my right-hand side, I just see an object that looks like it could be it. Okay. Stay there, stay there. Is it just you? Yeah. So as we got closer, we could see that the lad was hanging on to the dinghy, which was starting to deflate.
You could see that he was shaken up, he was shivering, and the dinghy itself was full of water, wasn't in the best state.
Turn it up, 2, 3, in.
The casualty was about 500 metres off the beach, which is quite a long way out for a small dinghy full of water and one child on board.
Are you cold?
Yeah, a bit.
You okay now?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Thomas.
Tom, I'm called Tom as well.
Right.
How old are you, Tom?
15.
15. As soon as we get the casualty on board, we start to do the casualty care checks.
You feel like you've hurt anywhere? You're injured? No.
To quickly assess a casualty, the crew have a checklist that establishes whether they are little sick, requiring first aid, or big sick, requiring urgent medical attention.
Can you give me a count to 10?
Yeah. Just going to check your breathing rate, OK? So just breathe normally. Ready, go.
So going through the casualty checklist, we noted that the breathing rate of the casualty was quite heavy breathing, which flags up as a big sick marker.
Big sick at the minute. You ingested any water at all?
As soon as we get a big sick marker, it's that first indication of this is, you know, a serious situation.
Send one of your officers down to meet him and then hopefully walk up.
We sent a request then to the Coast Guard to meet us on the beach so that they could find us somewhere warm to get him warm back up.
Wrap that round your mate. Yeah.
Keep the wind off you a bit.
We've got a thing called a thermal protection aid. We carry it in our first aid kits, just maintains their core temperature.
Right.
As we were coming back into the beach, quite a few people had come to the water's edge to meet us. And with that, I think he quite quickly saw his angry mum coming down the beach towards him.
But I did tell him.
I've been in the water for about 10 minutes trying to swim back in with the dinghy.
To be fair, I actually sat there and thought, I'm going to kill him because I'd warned him. So I was a bit like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Lauren had planned on spending a fun day on the beach with her son Thomas, his 2 younger brothers, and a new toy.
All my brothers found the dinghy at the beach a few days before. So the plan was to go there, just test it out and stuff.
I was paying attention to the other 2 on the beach as well, so it was trying to keep an eye on both of those 2 running off and playing, and Thomas in the water as well.
I was enjoying paddling quite a bit. I didn't realise I was going further and further out, and I was struggling a bit. I wasn't very good at rowing.
As well as taking out the dinghy, Thomas had also done what the RNLI always recommend, and taken his phone.
So I phoned him and said, you need to start paddling yourself back in a little bit. You look like you're drifting too far.
I started rowing, and then she called me again saying I hadn't moved at all.
The second time I phoned him, I was a bit more like, Thomas, you need to start coming back in. Like, you look like you're going further and further away from me.
So that's when I finally thought, the dinghy's not helping me. So I jump out of it and just started swimming while pushing it. It was hard trying to swim back because the water was pushing me out, the wind was pushing me out. I got tired. It was a nightmare to get out. I felt worried in that moment because I thought, I'm not getting any closer. It's pretty lonely trying to get back.
Fortunately, while Thomas had been trying to swim to shore, a bystander had realised the danger he was in and called 999.
I wasn't aware that anybody had phoned the Coast Guard until I actually saw the lifeboat come in.
Stay there, stay there.
I didn't hear the boat, the RNLI boat behind me, until one of them said,
Are you okay?
I did feel a bit embarrassed because I thought, hey, this must be a stupid rescue. But I also felt relieved when they got me on the boat.
I'd still keep this on you though.
In the end, the heavy breathing that triggered the Big Sick assessment was down to exhaustion from swimming against the current and strong offshore wind. After warming up on the beach for a few minutes, no further treatment was required.
Jump out, let's get this wrapped back around.
It was worrisome that it needed to actually get rescued, but relieving that it wasn't anything too drastic. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cry. Sorry. It could have been a lot worse if somebody hadn't seen and phoned.
Casualty was extremely lucky that somebody else called it in.
He was getting blown further offshore towards a busy shipping lane. 10 minutes later, we could have been looking at a fatality.
To the person that phoned him, I'm really grateful that you did it. Sorry. I think any parent would have been relieved, but also sat wondering what could have happened and how badly it could have gone wrong.
I think the fact that he stayed with the dinghy was a lifesaver. You know, it kept him afloat. It was buoyancy for him.
It's always rewarding as a new parent myself, is once you bring that child home to their parents, it's very rewarding.
After their dramatic day at the beach, Lauren and Thomas are both now more cautious when it comes to the sea.
I think Thomas is a bit more aware of an offshore breeze and what can happen and how quickly it can happen.
Thank you. Sit down there.
It has not put me off going out in the water again. I'd gladly do it. I'll be more aware of my surroundings next time.
Next year we'll still go down to the beach as a family like we always do and have fun. And I can say with certainty that we won't be having inflatables. No, we won't be taking stuff like that to the beach again.
In New Biggin, friends Sean and Anthony have both found a new appreciation of life after their fishing trip went so badly wrong.
Started fishing there, and then we were drifting north. And that's where we ended up flipping in the kayak.
It does bring back memories, but...
You just got to remember you're here. At the end of the day, it's happened. Getting through it.
No, you could, 100%, you can't turn back time, but you can learn off it, can't you? Me and Anthony have been friends since first school, but it's a much stronger bond now, the two of us. Having to go through a near-death experience has brought me and Anthony so much closer.
Get a nice boat, get a nice engine on the back, spare engine, get back out, get fishing and do what we love doing.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. I think I'm going to buy a fishing boat, me and Anthony.
Get a boat, life jackets, flares, the whole lot. We both love our fishing, we always have. Well, you know, it's an accident. Like the lifeboat crew said to us, we hope this doesn't put you off the sea, but I think it puts us off a kayak.
And on the south coast of England, the crew of the Dover lifeboat are still dealing with the emotional fallout from the night in August when they pulled 19 people out of the channel.
The day after that job, my arms were black and blue, where people had held on to my forearms.
Come on! Come on! Over!
I didn't do a shout for a long time afterwards. It took me a long time to process what I'd seen. I've got it. But you still show up because you can make things better.
Come on!
I remember talking on a debrief with the crew over this shout, and I kept hammering home, you saved 19 people. Regardless of what else happens, how many people in this world can say you've saved 19 people in an hour? Very, very few. To always be proud of that.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Our motto is to save every life at sea. And, you know, no matter who they are, if they're in water, in distress, needing our help, you know, that's what we're there to do.
Every shout that starts with those words, cut off by the tide, we're straight to top speed.
We need to get there, and we need to get there quickly.
I looked at the tide, we was really stuck.
When I first saw the yacht,
I trusted lies that wore a face. Now I'm the ghost you can't replace. Cut by betrayal, stitched by pain. But now our eyes unleashed again. You forged a monster in disguise. But I've become your last surprise. I've got a blade within, cutting through all your sins. I won't break, I won't forgive. This is the way I live. Your kingdom falls tonight. run from severed ties. You forged a monster in disguise, but I've become your last surprise. I've got a blade within, cutting through all your sins. I won't break, I won't forgive. This is the way I live. Your kingdom falls tonight by hands that once held
We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. A playground for some. For others, it's where they make their living. But the sea's unpredictable.
The sea can be so powerful and dangerous. The weather changes, and before you know it, you're in trouble.
Grab hold of him, do not let him go. All right, grab!
I was literally fighting for my life.
Without them, I would have drowned.
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of over 5,000 ordinary people.
Big wave!
You have to be able to drop everything when the pager goes off.
Get it out! Go, go, go!
Equipped with their own cameras,
Are you okay?
the crews give us a unique insight into every call-out as only they see it.
Person in the water!
For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
To save somebody's life, it's the best thing in the world, really.
Beautiful North Berwick. On Scotland's blustery east coast.
We are right at the mouth of the Firth of Forth, which means that we are interacting directly with the North Sea.
Offshore winds are really dangerous because a 15-knot wind, which wouldn't feel like very much on the beach, the second you get 15 yards into the sea, that wind will just take you.
.30 on an overcast August afternoon. A 20-mile-an-hour southwesterly blowing offshore.
I could tell when the pagers went off, it would highly likely be because the wind had all of a sudden whipped up.
So an offshore wind presents quite a lot of challenges and quite a lot of danger.
A call has come in for an immediate launch to some people in trouble at the far end of North Berwick's East Bay, around a mile from the station.
If it's an immediate launch, you know that that probably means there's a person in the water.
When you hear those words, person in the water, you just switch on that wee bit extra just to get that boat in the water and start making our way.
8 minutes after the pagers sounded.
Okay.
North Berwick's D-class inshore lifeboat is launched and sets off for the casualty's last reported position.
We had no real knowledge of who we were looking for and what we were looking for. Because the information was so sporadic, I wanted to be on the radio.
Once we came down the fairway, we turned the corner. The conditions were not ideal. Wind and the tide and the swell were all going different directions, so it was quite difficult to control the boat in.
With the offshore wind now gusting up to 40 miles an hour, the concern is that the casualties are being pushed further out to sea.
We were worried about where they were they all in the water? Were we going to be in a full search and rescue situation?
Especially with the tidal stream and the offshore wind. the area that we would have to search after 10 minutes would have been huge.
You have to prepare yourself and expect it to be a life-threatening situation.
Then, an urgent update comes in.
Gravity Coast Guard, 3 people, 1 paddleboard, offshore.
Hearing that there was multiple paddleboarders possibly in the water definitely upped the urgency.
Only a 10-year-old fell.
Hearing that it was a younger child puts things into perspective, having a younger brother myself.
That immediately forces you into a heightened state of urgency.
Even in August, the water temperature in this part of the North Sea barely makes it above 14 degrees. A 10-year-old in the water for any length of time is particularly vulnerable.
Hypothermia can set in very, very quickly, much faster than children. So our safe window of detection is greatly reduced.
The young boy's brother and sister are watching on helplessly from the shore as their parents struggle to try and save him.
I felt really scared. I didn't know what had happened to Mum, so I thought she might be, dead.
Me and Oscar were on the beach. We were looking out at them. I was very worried that he wouldn't get back at all.
Daisy and Oscar's mum and dad are attempting to make it out to their little brother George, who's on a paddleboard, all on his own, over 100 meters out. But all 3 of them now appear to be in difficulty.
I could tell that George was struggling and not getting back okay.
I felt helpless because I was on the beach and it was so far away.
The lifeboat started coming towards me and Oscar, and I started shouting and pointed towards them.
Daisy and Oscar attempt to direct the crew to where they last saw George and their parents. A few hundred meters along the coast.
Certainly is a concern that the casualties could have been separated, in which case you've got a very, very severe developing situation on your hands.
In the conditions that we had, it's not easy to spot anyone in the water, and if you can only see heads, it's very, very hard to spot people.
But after a few minutes of scanning the water, Fraser spots something in the distance.
We became aware of what looked to be 3 persons on 1 stand-up paddleboard.
Just wait there, we'll come to you, okay?
Yeah.
As we get closer to the casualties, we can start to see that the dad, I don't think he had much fight left in him. The mother was draped over, and the child, I've never seen an expression on a child's face like that before. It was just pure terror. Ready?
There we go.
You got some survival life jackets?
Yeah.
Fraser, this is Vicky, this is Stephen.
Hi there.
Hey son, do you want to come?
The 10-year-old boy was freezing, he was shaking. You could tell he was cold and scared.
And George's mum is also giving the crew cause for concern.
She was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and it looked like she had been swimming. So there's quite a lot of alarm bells that go with that straight away. What state of fatigue is she in? How cold is she? She swallowed water. Secondary drowning is a major concern.
With hypothermia a real possibility for all 3 casualties, the crew request an ambulance to meet them back at the station.
Vicky was particularly great chatting away to the young lads.
You're doing brilliant, Georgie.
I was trying to keep the wee boy reassured.
A wee bit bumpy, but we'll get you back as quick as we can, okay?
He was super brave, but he was still extremely, extremely cold.
The most scary part of that day was being in the water. I was trying to get a breath, but the waves were like...
In North Berwick on holiday, 10-year-old George and his family had come to the town's East Bay, so he and his 2 older siblings could go paddleboarding, something they'd enjoyed the previous day.
I remember it was, can we get back to the beach? Can we get back to the beach? Can we get on the paddleboards?
I was practically begging to go out because I love doing the paddleboards.
It's usually quite hot on holidays, and being in the sea cools you down. We went to that beach and it was very calm. There was barely any waves. We got into our wetsuits, set the paddleboards up and just paddling about.
Conditions seemed exactly the same as the day before. The tide was the same, the weather, the temperature, it all seemed exactly the same.
But while Laura and her husband, Dale, watched on from the beach, conditions started to change.
1 minute it was calm, and then the tide started changing and the waves started getting kind of sideways. And then I got pulled out, but I didn't really realise. And then when I realised I was like quite far out, it felt scary. At that point I felt like I was in danger, so I shouted for my mum.
I couldn't really hear him, but I could see he was panicked. He was struggling. He was trying everything to get back in.
Daisy and Oscar made it back to shore. But George was now drifting hundreds of meters away. His parents, on different parts of the beach, both made split-second decisions.
I saw Dad go out first. I was like, Mum, don't go in, but she went in anyway.
George was in trouble. I had no thought for myself. It was getting to George. I jumped on the board and I just powered to him. I don't know how I got there that quick, to be honest.
Laura managed to pull George onto her paddleboard, but when she tried to head back in, she was overwhelmed by the conditions.
I was trying to turn to get back, but it was so choppy. The wind was a lot stronger. It felt like we were in a whirlpool. It was coming at us at all directions.
There was this gust of wind and a wave made our board flip over. I fell into the water, then Mum told me to swim.
We're both now in the water. The cold is like nothing I've ever experienced. George was extremely distressed at this time. He was crying.
With the paddleboard taken by the wind and waves, both Laura and George were now fighting to stay afloat.
I said, George, you've got to pull your strength now and keep swimming. There was waves coming over us. We both went under a few times. You begin to think, right, is this it? Are we going to make it out of here?
It got colder with every time you got hit by the waves. I didn't know what to do. I swallowed lots of seawater. It tasted disgusting.
We were in the middle of nowhere. You can't see anything. I did think we were going to die. But all of a sudden, Dale arrived.
George's dad had battled through the waves on a paddleboard, arriving in the nick of time.
My mum said, Dad's there. Go, George, go. And then I swam with all my... I swam really fast. Fastest I've ever swam.
He got to the board so quick, and I followed him.
The moment we saw on the lifeboat, I felt like we were going to be saved.
I remember one of them grabbing my hand and held my hand all the way back. I felt immensely safe.
You okay, Georgie?
20 minutes after launching, the North Berwick crew arrived back at the station.
You come with us, okay?
So George and his parents could be warmed up and checked over.
Here, Stevie, he's going to come back and get you.
They were really nice. They gave me a cup of tea and offered me a few biscuits.
Big job.
I was still shivering, and then they gave me one of the lifeboat outfits to keep warm, and it was 5 sizes too big for me, but it was the smallest one they had.
It's always a surprise seeing how quickly the casualties can drift in the water. It's really eye-opening. Knowing where they started to where they ended up, they were travelling very, very quickly, and our response time that day was fast. I don't think we could have been any quicker.
The wind was taking them right out into the North Sea. Another 15, 20 minutes, the outcome would have been much worse.
After being given the all clear and reunited with Oscar and Daisy, George and his family made it home later that evening.
I said goodbye and thank you.
And why did you thank them?
Because they saved my life.
The guys are genuine heroes. I mean, they do this in their spare time. I must have hugged them several times. And what do you say to them? I owe them everything. Everything.
Very humbling to be thanked by them. I don't do it for any other reason than I do actually want to help. But it's nice when it's recognised.
The bond between the crew is very important for the teamwork when on the boat. And saving 3 lives, especially knowing that we've done something together, definitely a day and a shout that I won't forget.
It takes a year of training for a new recruit to become a fully fledged crew member, and part of a team of over 5,000 volunteers.
Teamwork is very important when you're out at sea.
Hold on.
You definitely need that one person to your right hand or left hand side that you can rely on.
Guys, quick, get a hand on him.
You do need to, like, lean on each other, rely on each other.
Get that visor down.
I think it's so important to have a really good bond with your crewmates. For me, you know, they're the ones that are teaching me. And I really value learning from them.
1, 2, 3.
If we can't all work as a team, then there's probably very little that's going to get achieved.
Having such a close-knit team really does keep us safe. It helps us feel really safe as well.
Everyone all right? Okay, off we go.
In crew, it's like joining a second family. There is that one crew feeling that it doesn't matter what station you come from, you know, we're all family.
So your flight attendants today have been Andy, Claire and Chris.
It's amazing, really, because we all come from totally different walks of life, and yet when we're on the boat, we're all the same. There's no difference.
Good shot.
We're all there to achieve one thing.
Let's get you in.
On Kent's east coast, looking out over the waters of the English Channel, lies the historic town of Walmer.
Walmer's a lovely community, very small. In the summer, we get loads of tourists. In the winter, it's more of the locals, and it's everyone knows everyone town.
We've got some really great views. When you look out of the beach at Walmer, you can see Ramsgate and a little bit more glamorously France on a clear day.
And Walmer's proximity to the continent has seen it receive some notable visitors.
According to reports, Julius Caesar landed very close to Walmer Lifeboat Station many, many moons ago. But yeah, that's one of our claims to fame, living in Walmer.
2 millennia on, Walmer's lifeboats are dispatched to around 50 shouts every year. The station's newest recruit is Rob.
So we'll start by just having a visual inspection of the outside of the jacket, making sure that the straps are adjusted as they should be.
He's very calm, he's really chilled out. He's done all of the necessary training, and he's now ready to go on a shout.
As soon as that sensor gets wet, that light will turn on automatically, OK?
Learned about rope work, the tide, safety, navigation, radios. A lot goes into it. A lot of time, a lot of dedication, but they're a really great crew to be a part of.
Also crucial for any new crew member is understanding the perils of their patch. At Walmer, that means the infamous Goodwin Sands, a vast offshore sandbank exposed at low tide, known locally as the ship swallower.
Anyone who knows of Walmer will know that the Goodwin Sands are notorious for taking on ships and winning the battle. They have unfortunately taken the lives of many, many sailors who have hit the sandbanks, and there are thousands and thousands of shipwrecks on the Goodwin Sands.
It's roughly about 10 miles long by 3 to 4 miles wide, with big, heavy winds and high tides. They are constantly shifting.
I already had known of the Goodwin Sands, but particularly with the stories that you've heard from fellow crew, you really get more of an appreciation for just how dangerous they are.
So as a helm, you're constantly looking at the conditions when you're out there.
Exactly, yeah.
It's all about just being really vigilant.
Anyone who navigates around them has to be so cautious, and they are still a massive threat to us today.
Mid-October, just after dawn on a squally Monday morning.
The morning of the shout, I was taking my dog for a walk. I had to sprint home. The dog was happy because he got his breakfast a bit earlier.
When you wake up and the pager goes off, the adrenaline just kind of hits you. Of course, I was hopeful that I would be able to go on my first shout.
A mayday call has been received from a yacht that's run aground on the Goodwin Sands, 6 miles off the coast.
So this is mayday. This is life in grave and imminent danger. There was a vessel taken on water with 3 crew members on board.
With the yacht stuck on the sands and high tide still 2 hours away, it's in a highly vulnerable position.
Definitely time is of the essence. We've got to get there quick.
Dan looked at me and said, "Get your dry suit on and head towards the boat."
It's quite a hairy situation to put someone in for the first shout, but we've got people here who need our help. So I just thought, just go with who we've got.
10 minutes after the mayday call came in, Walmer's Atlantic 85 is launched, with a crew of 4 on board. They head out to the yacht's reported position on the southern edge of the Goodwin Sands.
As we were proceeding out, you start to feel the swell change. I had a little bit of nerves, a little bit of trepidation, but focusing on the task in hand, I think helps you keep those under control and in check.
We're trained to always think of the worst case scenario when we're going to shout. So I was thinking a boat fully under with people in the water.
But with 30-mile-an-hour winds and heavy swells, the journey out to the sands is hard going.
It was quite lumpy in there. The sea conditions changed quite a lot because you have confused seas bouncing off the sandbanks either side.
We could see the sea and the swell picking up and more wind. That's when my thought process changed of maybe this is going to be a bit rougher than I initially expected.
11 minutes after launching, the crew arrive at the coordinates given by the yacht's skipper and find the 35-foot vessel and its 3-man crew in a perilous situation.
When I first saw the yacht, I just had to sort of have a bit of a gasp. We could see the yacht was right on the edge of the sandbank, and it was leaning right over. The mast, 1 minute's like this, the next minute's like this, and then it's just constantly doing that the whole time. And it was just being thrown around like a rag doll.
The tidal race and the wind over tide had created very choppy conditions. The vessel just looking like it was in a washing machine.
We could see that there was obviously a state of shock within the boat. And I think that they just realised that actually our lives are now in your hands.
He's gone down to the radio.
Over his VHF, the skipper informs the crew of a worrying development. The yacht's fiberglass hull has cracked.
The casualties were in a really dangerous scenario. They're taken on water through the hull and being smashed around with the waves. It was quite a serious situation for them.
With the yacht stuck fast on the sands and the tide still due to rise another metre, it's now a race against the clock to extract the 3 casualties.
We were about an hour before high tide, so we still had another hour of tide to come up over the boat. They were in a really precarious place. It was quite clear the best thing to do was to get our lifeboat as close as possible to the casualty vessel and get the casualties off one at a time.
Yeah. But in shallow water and with waves breaking over the yacht, getting the D-class up close enough will take all of Helm Dan's skill.
It's very dangerous to do any kind of boat-to-boat transfer, even in calm seas. When we're in a swell that's trough to peak 2 meters, there was a really high risk of us flipping the lifeboat.
I've never been on a lifeboat when you're being hit into a stationary object. It does feel like you're being hit straight into a brick wall.
Dan's control of the boat coming in and out was required until we had that timing exactly right.
It's certainly a dangerous situation that we're all involved in. But we're all connected via an intercom, so we can all speak to each other when we're manoeuvring around the boat. So it's a quick brief for the crew. Is everyone happy with the plan? We're going to extract one at a time. Crew, all thumbs up. Fantastic. That's what we're going to do. I'm just assessing every single wave and just doing my very best to make it a stable platform to get the first casualty off.
The first yachtsman clambers precariously into position, ready to jump.
There's a huge danger involved with putting us alongside a yacht which is rocking and rolling around. It's clear it's just not going to be a straightforward transfer.
As we're coming alongside, we're waiting for the ideal time that the port side of the lifeboat is next to the starboard side of the casualty vessel. It was about timing it right. And that window is really small. It's a split second.
Although the first casualty is safely on board, high tide is just over an hour away, and his fellow crewmates are running out of time.
There's still a huge amount of risk to get the other 2, and the longer that we were there, the worse the sea was getting.
So we're now lining up to get the second casualty. We've chosen our wave. The crew were really quick to grab his legs and to make sure he was safely inside the lifeboat.
But with the port side of the yacht now underwater, the crew only have minutes to get the final casualty off before it's completely submerged.
Go toward the bow!
The last casualty, there was almost a reluctance to leave the vessel, but in the meantime, you sat there thinking the sea state's getting worse and your vessel's going to sink pretty soon.
He was petrified. He was also backwards to us, so it was making our approach to get him as much harder because he couldn't see our hand signals. We tried to come in, and he really didn't want to let go. So Dan had to come out and realign.
The swell over the bank, it was just throwing us around and it's smashing us in the face.
Rob was holding my life jacket when I was over the edge. He just knew where to be at the right time. And having a crew member like that is great.
Wait!
I think the landing of the third casualty, it might not have been elegant, but that meant that all 3 people were now off the boat and we can now move away.
As Dan manoeuvres the Atlantic 85 off the Goodwin Sands, the crew carry out welfare checks on the 3 men.
There wasn't a huge amount of emotion with the casualties when we got them on board. I think they were just in a load of shock. They've now just got themselves and the clothes they're wearing on their back, and that's it.
Once in deeper water, the crew rendezvous with Ramsgate's larger Tamar-class all-weather lifeboat. To transfer the 3 casualties.
It was a relief to us that we were okay, they're okay, and we've done our very best.
As they embark on their journey back to station, the crew spot what's left of the yacht.
The fact that the mast is now not moving makes me think it actually might have sunk.
For it to have sunk within minutes of us getting the last casualty off was really quite shocking.
There's no doubt in my mind that had we have not been able to respond as quickly, those 3 individuals would have ended up in the sea and they probably would have drowned.
At 8 a.m., just over an hour after they set off, the crew make it back to Walmer, ready for the start of the working week.
It was a strange feeling to have gone from being woken up and being in bed out to a situation where people's lives are at risk, to back home to normal life.
I just went back off to work like nothing ever happened. I don't tell people when I go to work, so just went to my day as normal.
It being your first shout is something that's quite difficult to process. But the biggest takeaway is just how well, as a team and as a crew, that we operate together. It was really inspiring to see the 3 crewmates that I had on board do what they did.
In neighbouring East Sussex, at the mouth of the River Ouse, lies the port town of Newhaven.
The harbour in Newhaven really is central to the town. You know, it's a working port, it's active, it's busy, we have a big ferry, and there's also a lot of pleasure craft there as well.
We've got the beach, marina, you can get out onto the South Downs. It's a great place if you like being outside.
Every time I go out on the boat, I pinch myself. We have Beachy Head and the Seven Sisters Cliffs just up the road. They're absolutely stunning. It draws in tourists from across the world.
The cliffs here may be beautiful, but they can also be treacherous. Many of the Newhaven crew's 60 annual shouts are to people caught out by the rising tide beneath these sheer rock faces.
Because of the cliffs where we are, there's a real high risk of people getting cut off by the tide. People start walking from one point to another, and it's a little bit late when they realise that the tide is coming in behind them.
We have very strong tides. We have change of direction of the tides where the water comes in different directions. Just off the beach, it shelves very, very deeply, very, very quickly.
People can find themselves in the water. Can they swim? Obviously, we don't know. People can drown. There's absolutely nowhere to run once you've been cut off by the tide.
Sunday morning, mid-May. The hottest day of the year so far, with temperatures nudging 30 degrees. The Newhaven crew have just returned to station after a training session aboard their 7 class.
We'd washed the boat down, refueled it, and then as we were being debriefed, we could hear this radio chatter. That was when we thought, hang on, let's not go too quickly. We might be needed here.
Sure enough, we were paged.
An urgent call has come in for 2 men trapped by the incoming tide beneath cliffs 4 miles east of Newhaven.
So the tide that day, we were about 2 hours away from high water. So it was on the flood, it was rising. You know it's got the potential to get pretty bad pretty quickly.
At the bottom of cliffs, there's often no phone signal. If you don't have a life jacket and you're unable to swim, it's a matter of life or death.
As soon as we hear that there's someone cut off by the tide, Every shout that starts with those words, we're straight out as quickly as we can.
With New Haven's lifeboat already prepped, its 7-strong crew launch immediately. And as they leave the harbour, turn east along the coast towards the casualties' reported location.
We didn't have an accurate description of where the casualties were, but they were under the cliffs, somewhere off of Seaford Head.
Shoreline is a dangerous place to be. Not only are you in danger for the water coming up to you, you're in danger from rocks falling on top of you.
All it takes is somebody to try and swim around a headland or to maybe swim out to a better mobile phone signal, and suddenly the situation can really escalate.
We need to get there, and we need to get there quickly.
15 minutes after launch, the crew arrive beneath the cliffs at Seaford Head.
Life jackets.
And while attempts are made to get a visual of the casualties on the shore, the crew prepare to launch the lifeboat's inflatable daughter craft, the Y-boat. At just 3 meters in length, it's the smallest boat in the fleet.
The 7-class lifeboat is an incredibly capable boat, but what it can't do is get into shallow water close to land.
Go a little bit more.
All we need to do is just drop it into the water and we could get going straight away.
Releasing catch.
Coming in.
The Y-boat is very small and very agile. On a calm day, it's perfect for getting into the shoreline and for picking up casualties.
Once in the Y-boat, the crew spot the 2 casualties in the distance.
These people here? Yeah.
They're stranded on a narrow strip of receding beach at the foot of the 100-meter cliffs.
We could see the casualties on shore, but the tide had come in and completely cut them off.
Very rocky where they are, isn't it?
With our shoreline, it's not as easy as just going in, picking them up and leaving again.
So you can see just under the water, there's a rock here.
Where are you thinking?
There might be a little section there.
The location that we were tasked to is under some of the biggest cliffs close to New Haven.
Hey, can you see these rocks coming up?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit like that, isn't it?
There's a lot of rocks under the water that have fallen from the cliffs, and they're very jagged, so they're really dangerous.
You can see all these, yeah, Dad?
See these rocks ahead of you here?
The Y-boat is inflatable, so it could puncture. If it did that, it could hurt us as crew, but also it would mean that we weren't able to get to the casualties.
But with this thin strip of beach due to be almost fully submerged within half an hour, the crew work together, plotting a route through the rocks to the stranded casualties.
We spotted an area that looked like we might be able to get the boat in closer.
2/3 of an oar.
Nothing directly in front of us.
There's all sorts of equipment you can use to determine how much water you have beneath you, but there's nothing as reliable as poking an oar in.
Half an oar.
Nothing in front of us.
Is it sand? Is it soft? Is it rock? It's incredibly reliable, unless we snap it in half, and I'm not that strong.
Now within meters of the shore, the crew are finally able to communicate with the 2 men.
Just wait there for a minute.
As we got close enough into the shore, you're keeping an eye on the casualties because a natural reaction for people in that scenario is to head straight towards the boat. That isn't necessarily the safest thing. So there's a lot of different things going through your head about how your crew are going to be safe.
Dan, the next one I can see is there.
How the casualties are going to stay safe.
Yeah, you've got about 3 meters to a submerged rock.
What communication you need to give to them. There's an awful lot going on very quickly.
One great big
There's
rock.
one here where we are. Tell me when you're happy.
Stop there, Dan.
Yeah, happy, Dan?
As we get closer into shore, then Dan asked myself to move the boat closer in on foot because, you know, then we can feel what's underneath us and it's safer for the engine and for the Y-boat.
Yeah, you're fine. I can definitely walk you in from here. Just wait there.
Sam walks the Y-boat as close to shore as he can.
Keep that in, Kath, because there's one just to your right.
And then wades over.
Hi, what are your names?
My name is Saeed.
Saeed. And
Usman.
Usman, I'm Sam.
One of them seemed a little bit frightened, but I was reassured when I asked them. They were both well and neither of them were injured, but they were a little bit scared, understandably.
What happened? You were walking?
Well, we get down to get river shrimps. And
Okay.
The tide just literally mistimed it.
Okay.
With the tide still rising by the minute, the crew need to get both men onto the Y boat for transfer to the 7 class, waiting out at sea.
Are you happy with them walking back?
Just bring one person at a time.
Okay.
So the main priority is to think about the casualties' safety. There's a lot of rocks under the surface that they were going to have to walk them across to get to the Y boat.
So Kath's going to come here as well, and we're both going to walk with you. Okay? Just take it nice and slowly.
So we opted to take the gentleman who seemed more frightened first to the Y boat.
You have to really find your feet.
You got him? Okay.
He was quite stiff and he was very tentative with his footing. So we were having to really guide him over the rocks and showing where to hold on to.
Just slowly, slowly. There's no rush.
As the first casualty came back to the Y boat, it became apparent that he was in a worried state.
You're good, we've both got you. You're perfectly safe because you've got a life jacket in there, yeah?
It ran through my head that he might not be a swimmer. So therefore, this had quite a lot of fear for him.
And then you can climb in.
Lean your stomach on the boat and swing your legs over. Perfect.
That's it.
With the more nervous casualties safely on the Y boat, Sam and Catherine return to shore to collect his friend.
So really slowly. It's very, very unsteady. Slowly, slowly does it. There's no rush.
We had to tell him to slow down a few times.
All right, let's just stop a second. So just get your foot in before you step.
If you rush these things, you can end up doing more harm than good and hurt yourself.
So come to the side of the boat where my colleague is.
Put your belly on it and then swing your legs over.
There you go.
So with the casualties both on the Y boat is its maximum capacity. So it's not possible for both me and Kath to head back.
For now, Sam will have to bide his time on the beach.
See you later.
Until the Y boat returns from dropping off the relieved casualties.
The day was amazing. It was a beautiful sunny day, clear day. It wasn't windy, and it was a perfect day for fishing.
Earlier that day, Usman and Saeed had set off along the foot of the chalk cliffs, searching the rock pools for shrimp to use as fishing bait.
It was the hottest day of the year. So that was, yeah, just have a look around, just chill out, really, as a Sunday.
But venturing further along the shoreline, they didn't notice the rising tide had cut them off at both ends of the beach.
I remember Saeed telling me that, the tide is coming up. I turned back, looked at the tide, and it was high. And that's when I set it in that, we was really stuck. Guess what happened? Got stuck out here. The water's gone so high. We've got this boat here trying to help us, called the lifeguard. And yeah, we're stuck. Saeed, he started panicking. I had to assist him and, get into the shade.
I started feeling like the heat stroke really badly. And it came to a point where I just said, I'm just going to sit down because I'm really now, feeling the heat. And I'm out of breath as well.
And with the tide continuing to rise, as a non-swimmer, Saeed had extra cause for concern.
So at that point, a little bit of panic had set in because now we're in danger. What if the tide rises really high? How would I escape? I kind of started thinking about my family. We never know when our last moments can be, It's true what they say that you never know when death will knock on your door.
Yeah, no, we got them.
Thank you.
Fortunately for Saeed and Usman, a passing fishing boat had seen they were stranded and called the Coast Guard.
If they hadn't spotted them, I don't know if they'd have had a way of raising the alarm. You often can't get phone signal at the bottom of those cliffs. The situation could have ended much, much worse.
One of them could have tried to swim. They could have separated. One of them said, I'll try and go for help. You've then got 2 casualties. You don't know where they are.
After a quick trip in the all-weather lifeboat, Usman and Saeed transferred back into the Y boat for safe return to Seaford Beach.
Where's your car?
Just there.
Okay.
where they'd started out earlier that day.
After a shout like that, you just feel really pleased that your training has kicked in, you did all the things you needed to do, and you kept 2 people safe.
I've never been rescued before, so it's a first for me. Yeah, it was amazing.
You all right?
Once we got off, we kind of give each other a high five, bit of relief that, you know, we're back safe on beach.
Keep safe. I hope you catch some river shrimp.
Once we'd said goodbye, we headed back to the station where we would once again wash the boat down.
And we all got back to our nice sunny Sunday.
"50 miles north on the banks of the River Thames in southwest London lies England's furthest inland station, Teddington.
Teddington on a summer's day, lots of people like to get out on the water. There's a lot of water sports, or cycle along the towpaths, walking dogs in the parks. Definitely makes me feel a little bit happier rather than the hustle and bustle of central London.
Established in 2002, the lifeboat station here responds to over 100 shouts a year along a busy 8-mile stretch of river.
Grab the rope!
We all meet every Tuesday for training. It's very friendly and very close-knit community.
Grab the rope!
Teddington has a massive mix of professions and ages. We've got people who are ex-Navy, we've got people who are paramedics, we've got people who are interior designers, architects. It's a real mix of backgrounds.
So Teddington Lifeboat Station does attend a lot of incidents, both in and off the water. We have 2 D-class lifeboats, which are great for the area. They can fit into all of the small, difficult spaces on the sides of the river.
A sunny Monday in early June. A quiet start to the week on the river.
The pager went off about 10 to 4. I was working from home. I just said, I've got to go, and I put the lid down on the computer and ran off.
The information we had was that a cyclist had had an accident on the towpath in the Ilpie Island area. When I heard that sort of information, my concerns are going to be the level of injury. You don't really know what to expect.
Capable of reaching the injured cyclist before any of the emergency services. Within 8 minutes, one of the station's D-class inshore lifeboats is on the water and heading the mile downriver to the casualties location.
Ilpie Island in the D-class takes sort of about 5 or 6 minutes to get to.
Ready on the siren?
Yeah.
We have a siren simply because we're quite often running at speed on a crowded river, and it's a really good way of giving advance warning to other river users that we're coming.
There was definitely a sense of urgency to us. We know that we need to get there as quickly as we possibly can to fully understand exactly what's going on.
The casualty is reported to be somewhere opposite Ilpie Island, one of the Thames's largest, on a stretch of secluded towpath.
The towpath is a very small sort of path that's alongside the river with a nature reserve on the other side. It's not accessible by vehicles at all. It's just bikes and pedestrians.
The location of the incident was quite a distance from any sort of road access.
It's hard to see through the trees.
On approach to where we believe the incident to be, it was quite difficult due to the vegetation to actually see exactly where the casualty was.
I just flick the siren, see if anyone comes to the...
So we used the siren to try and notify the casualty we're approaching.
There's people walking, but they've not stopped.
I can see 2 in there.
Yeah.
One of the passers-by was able to wave to us so we could know exactly where we were going.
Teddington Lifeboat, we're on scene, over.
Just 3 minutes after launching,
Let's go here.
the crew arrive at the casualty's location on the riverbank.
When we got there, there was a small gap, and the casualty was actually on a bench in the trees. Hiya, my name's Pete. There was the husband of the casualty, and there was also a lady who had stopped and called in the incident. Just tell me what happened. Oh, dogs hit you.
Came out of the woods.
The casualty seemed very shocked, quite upset, and she said she'd been cycling along and 2 dogs had run out in front of her and caused her to fall off her bike.
Did you fall and hit your head at all? You had, and have you got, can I see your helmet? I just want to see if there's any damage.
Yes. I don't remember what happened to my head.
You don't remember it after that, so when you hit, oh yeah, you have, yeah, you've cracked your helmet there, so you've hit your head quite hard. The helmet had sustained quite significant damage through the plastic and the foam inside. Did you black out at all? Did you lose consciousness?
No.
And that obviously meant that I was quite concerned about her head and any sort of head injury that she might have sustained from it. So you're always aware that you're on the floor.
Yes.
When can the next part of your memory, when does that come back?
I remember absolutely everything.
From my background in the ambulance service, I know that the head injuries, they can deteriorate quite fast. I was concerned from the age of the casualty that there might be the possibility of a bleed on the brain.
Sorry, I'm shaking.
That's okay. Or even she may have suffered an injury to her spine and her neck, and I wanted to try and rule them out quite quickly. I'm just going to have just a feel on your neck, OK? Just tell me, does it hurt at all there?
No.
Excellent. Continuing the assessment of the casualty, we determined that she'd significantly injured her left side. That was where she'd fallen from the bike.
Where all the pain is,
Yeah.
when I put weight on this leg,
Is in that joint.
As Tina, the casualty, has potentially sustained a head injury, along with damage to her leg.
Hi there, is that the ambulance service?
The crew are left with only one course of action.
Location-wise, for where we are currently here, the road would be about a 15-minute walk. Our option is going on the boat back to Headington Lifeboat Station for possible pickup from an ambulance there.
Right.
From the injuries that I'd sort of believed that were present, I thought that the best for the casualty was going to be to carry her to the boat. Just take it nice and steady. How's that feeling at the moment, Tina?
Take it slow, there's no
Not
hurry.
great.
Because she had a potential hip or leg injury, we didn't know what at the time.
So I'm just going to lift your leg up, and then we're just going to hop on one leg, OK, Jen?
We had to be really careful about how we transported her onto the lifeboat because we didn't want to make it any worse than it was already.
How's that feel? Is that better?
Yeah.
That's it. One more step forward. Good,
Okay, I
good
can
leg
do it.
just to
I can
slide
do
you
it.
back.
That's it, you're in.
Right. We tried to keep her as warm as possible. How you doing, Tina? Feeling all right? And we tried to keep her supported the whole way back to the lifeboat station.
As she was on board the lifeboat, she seemed to get calmer. She definitely wasn't so shocked and she seemed quite comfortable. She was such a lovely lady. I had no idea that the casualty was in any way famous.
One of the things I'm enjoying best about Blue Peter is trying out new things. For instance, I'd never had a go at gliding until someone said, would I like a lesson?
Oh, it's lovely. It's fantastic.
I happen to have been a Blue Peter presenter way back in the day, 1979, 1980.
Cover the top of the mat to make it stain-proof, either with clear varnish or sticky-backed plastic like this, which is transparent.
Tina, now retired and a grandmother of 4, had ventured out from her home nearby for a ride along the Thames towpath.
It was unbelievably beautiful. The river was sparkling and I was really relaxed. But the next minute I was flat on my back, completely bewildered, looking up at the sky, knowing that I couldn't move.
A couple of dogs springing from the bushes had knocked Tina off her bike, leaving her lying on the ground.
I think I was so shocked and bewildered. I think I knew enough to know I oughtn't to try and move.
There should be something.
There's a beach just in here.
Fortunately for Tina, a passerby phoned her husband and the emergency services.
The feeling when we knew that the lifeboat was on its way was extraordinary because all the kind of shock of the accident was replaced by excitement. And then we heard whoop, whoop, whoop. And then whoop.
You've cracked your helmet there, so you've hit your head quite hard.
When Pete showed me the break in my helmet, my overwhelming feeling was relief, because I think I realized how serious it could have been without wearing one.
Sitting here now, no dizziness at all.
I think it is safe to say that wearing a helmet saved my life that day.
But although the helmet had done its job, the crew still had to get Tina to the lifeboat.
Jan, she's going to limp on your side so she can put weight through you.
I felt instantly physically sick. I could feel myself about to pass out. And their voices went into the dim and distant, if you know what I mean. It was all very echoey and horrible, horrible feeling.
London Coast Guard from Teddington Lifeboat. To update you, we have the casualty on board the vessel now. We're progressing back to Teddington Lifeboat Station.
At 5 o'clock that afternoon, the crew arrived back at the slipway to await the ambulance service.
Ready, brace, lift. That's it. You okay, Tina? Good, good.
Teamwork on a shout like this, really vital. It was Pete going in and making the assessment, Jan looking after her in the boat.
Not the way I thought I'd be coming home.
And our shore crew, they were there ready for her to do a slick transfer from the boat to get her into the boathouse, the place of refuge where we wanted her.
Here we come.
When I got to hospital, they said I had a hairline fracture on my pelvis, and nothing can be done for one of those, so it's just being patient.
Oh, heaven.
There we go.
On that day, the Teddington Lifeboat crew were simply spectacular. Top of the list is gratitude, just from all the kind of extraordinary ways in which I was cared for.
I saw Tina on television when I was younger and then was able to rescue her from the towpath. It's quite amazing.
Two months after her accident, Tina is back on her feet, but not yet back on two wheels.
A lot of people have asked me if I will ever get back on my bike, and I think in time, I'm sure I will. But whether or not I'll ever cycle along the towpath again is a different question.
But there is one thing Tina is certain of.
I always wear my helmet. It saved my life this time, and it will certainly protect me again.
And Usman and Saeed, the two fishermen who ended up getting caught out by the New Haven tide, have also learned from their experience.
I'll time the tide definitely next time. I'll check up for the time and listen to my mate if I'm going with my mate.
It made me think to myself when I sat down, is this how it will end? You know, and it made me think about try to make the most out of my life.
So again, there's no rush.
They were amazing crew. I would thank them from the bottom of my heart, the great job what they've done and the responsibility that they take on and the risk their life for other people's lives.
Lads, you coming with us?
And 3 months on from their ordeal in North Berwick, George and his family are planning a return to the seaside.
I'm looking forward to going off holiday a lot. Really excited. I just think next time we'll definitely think about the winds and stuff.
You want to feed Jimmy?
Okay. I hadn't been paddleboarding since the rescue, but I do hope to go paddleboarding again.
It has made us more cautious, more aware, but it won't stop us paddleboarding.
As long as it's safe.
It was one of the worst storms that I've seen since I've been on the lifeboat crew.
We didn't know how long she'd been there. Our concerns were she was getting tired.
She was definitely shaken.
This side.
This was a very, very critical situation.
Calm down, you're okay.
At any moment, she could have been pushed under the boat.